In Milwaukee's quiet courtroom 415, a split-second decision by Judge Hannah Dugan has exploded into a seismic confrontation between America's judicial system and federal immigration authorities. As FBI agents place handcuffs on a sitting judge for the first time under the renewed Trump administration, the nation faces its most visceral test of whether courthouses are temples of justice or hunting grounds for immigration enforcement. The arrest has unleashed fierce debate over a fundamental question. When federal agents and local judges clash over the fate of an undocumented immigrant, who truly has the final say in American courtrooms?
We begin with breaking news from the United States. The FBI has arrested a judge in Wisconsin for allegedly helping an immigrant evade arrest from federal authorities. Now,
a judge in Wisconsin was arrested this morning at the very courthouse where she works. Joining us now is NBC's Tom Winter. Back with us is Temadayo Oganga-Williams. So, Tom, what exactly happened here?
We do move on to the other news this Friday night. The Trump administration signaling a major escalation in its deportation efforts. The FBI arresting an American judge accusing her of helping an undocumented migrant in her courtroom evade authorities.
On April 25th, 2025, FBI agents walked into the Milwaukee County Courthouse and did something unprecedented in recent memory. They arrested Judge Hannah Dugan on federal charges of obstruction and concealing a person from arrest. The case that brought federal agents to Judge Dugan's courtroom began as a routine pretrial hearing, but what happened next has become the latest flashpoint in America's increasingly contentious immigration debate. April 18th, 2025, Milwaukee County Courthouse, Judge Hannah Dugan's courtroom. On the docket, the case of Eduardo Flores Ruiz, facing 3 counts of battery and domestic abuse. But what Judge Dugan didn't know as court began that morning was that plainclothes ICE agents were waiting in the gallery and with another agenda, to arrest Flores Ruiz for his immigration violations. According to the federal criminal complaint, when Judge Dugan learned of the agent's presence, witnesses described her as becoming visibly angry before declaring the situation absurd. What happened next would change her life forever. Prosecutors alleged that Judge Dugan escorted Flores Ruiz through a juror door leading to a non-public area of the courthouse, effectively helping him evade federal authorities. Despite this alleged assistance, ICE agents spotted Flores Ruiz outside of the courthouse and apprehended him after a foot chase. To understand the gravity of this case, we need to examine the crimes alleged on both sides. Federal prosecutors alleged 2 distinct violations by Flores Ruiz. 1. Immigration violations. According to court documents, Flores Ruiz allegedly illegally entered the United States from Mexico after being issued an expedited removal order back in January 2013. Re-entry after deportation is a federal felony under 8 U.S.C. 1326 and is punishable by up to 2 years imprisonment for a first offense and up to 20 years for subsequent re-entries with aggravating factors, such as violence. 2. Domestic violence charges. Flores Ruiz was in court facing 3 misdemeanor counts of battery and domestic abuse, stemming from an incident back in March 12th of 2025. These state charges would typically carry penalties of up to 9 months imprisonment and about $10,000 in fines per count in Wisconsin.
The courthouse.
Yeah, and to set the stage for you and Sandra, this was truly horrific. This guy was in court being prosecuted by a state prosecutor for domestic violence battery. He had beat up 2 people, a guy and a girl, hit the guy 30 times, knocked him to the ground, choked him, beat up a woman so badly they both had to go to the hospital. And John, you know, it's so rare for victims to want to cooperate. They wanted to cooperate. They were.
U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi has claimed that the domestic violence incident was severe, allegedly stating that Flores Ruiz beat his roommate and a woman so badly that they needed to be hospitalized and that he continued to be belligerent in the hospital before his arrest. Judge Dugan now faces 2 serious federal charges: obstruction of justice under 18 U.S.C. 1505, obstruction of proceedings before departments, agencies, and committees carries penalties of up to 5 years imprisonment. And 2, concealing a person under arrest, 18 U.S.C. 1071. Harboring or concealing a person from arrest can result in imprisonment for up to 1 year or up to 5 years if the underlying offense is a felony. Combined, these charges could potentially result in up to 6 years imprisonment and fines of up to $350,000, according to reports.
And you know why they were dropped? They were dropped because we weren't fighting alone.
This case raises profound legal questions that go beyond one judge and one courthouse. For Judge Dugan's defense, her attorney has stated that Judge Dugan has committed herself to the rule of law and the principles of due process for her entire career as a lawyer and a judge, and that she will defend herself vigorously and looks forward to being exonerated. Potential defense strategies for the judge might include arguing that she was protecting the integrity of the state court from federal interference, challenging whether her actions met the legal threshold or definition for concealment or obstruction, questioning whether ICE agents followed proper protocol for courthouse arrests, and raising concerns about judicial independence and separation of powers, or a constitutional argument. Hannah Dugan has a background in social justice and has worked for legal aid.
SWAT video
for the
catches
prosecution's
a murder
case,
suspect.
FBI Director Kash Patel has publicly stated, "We believe Judge Dugan intentionally misdirected federal agents away from the subject to be arrested in her courthouse, Eduardo Flores Ruiz, allowing the suspect, an illegal alien, to evade arrest." Key elements that the prosecution must prove include that Judge Dugan had knowledge of the federal agent's lawful duties, that she deliberately took actions to obstruct those duties, that she specifically intended to help Flores Ruiz escape or evade arrest, and that she knew Flores Ruiz was the subject of federal detention. This case occurs against a backdrop of increasing tension between the Trump administration and local officials over immigration enforcement. Legal experts note this represents a significant escalation as the arrest of a sitting judge on federal charges related to immigration enforcement sends a powerful message about the administration's willingness to confront what it sees as local interference with federal immigration priorities. Meanwhile, protesters gathered outside of the Milwaukee County Courthouse chanting, "Free the judge now," highlighting the deep political divisions surrounding this case. Judge Hannah Dugan's next court appearance is scheduled for about May 15th of 2025. As this legal drama unfolds, Americans are left to grapple with difficult questions about the balance between federal immigration enforcement, judicial independence, and the proper functioning of our justice system. For some, Judge Dugan is a hero standing up for due process and judicial independence. For others, she exemplifies an overreach by local officials interfering with federal law enforcement. Attorney General Pam Bondi made the administration's position clear in a Fox News interview that no one is above the law. Whatever the outcome, this case will likely shape immigration enforcement in America for years to come. But what do you think? Do you think Judge Dugan was standing up for the rule of law? Do you think Judge Dugan overstepped her powers as a judge? Or do you think that this is an overreaction on the part of Pam Bondi and the Trump administration? Whatever the case may be, the answers lie within the law itself. We have federal immigration policies. We have federal immigration regulations and federal law governing immigration. Immigration is, in fact, a federal prerogative, meaning that states technically do not have constitutional powers to govern what the federal government does about immigration policy. What I do know is that if you are interested, you can go and advocate one way or the other to your representative. Let us know down in the comments below. And if you like these legal stories in your pocket, like and subscribe.